All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little San Francisco 49er video as we update you on the latest happenings in Ninerland on February the 11th. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. And we're also brought to you by Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. Call my friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And this video is brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World. Mancini's is a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Mancini's offers a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com and find a bed that works for you. Whether you shop online or visit in store, use the code Krug10 and get 10% off. That's Krug 10 and get 10% off. Again, that's Krug10 to get 10% off at any of Mancini's locations or online at sleepworld.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers, a little update in Ninerland, some of the stuff going on. Josh Williams, Niners executive, is the first to interview for the Jacksonville general manager job. Williams is one of many candidates, and he has been a fast-rising star inside the Niners personnel department, former St. Ignatius Wildcat, who also collegiately graduated from Columbia. If Josh Williams, gets named the Jacksonville Jaguars general manager, and Ethan Waugh, the former 49er executive, is one of the guys leading the search. So I think Williams definitely has a legitimate opportunity to get the job. If Josh Williams becomes the Jaguars general manager, the 49ers will get 2 third-round draft picks as compensation as part of the NFL rules about minority hiring practices. So that is the extra bonus. If they do lose a talented young guy like Josh Williams, the advantage is the Niners will get 2 third-round picks. As far as when they will realize those picks, that I don't know. I believe it will be from next year's draft, not the 2025 draft, but 26 and 27, that they would get third-round draft choices for Williams signing on with the Jaguars. Brandon Staley, according to reports, may be the Saints' new defensive coordinator, per a report by Adam Schefter. The Saints officially named Kellen Moore, the Eagles' offensive coordinator, as their brand new head coach, and Moore is expected to bring Brandon Staley with him to New Orleans as the defensive coordinator. So that is something to watch for, and that was one of the notes today. Another interesting note is the odds are out. Sportsbetting.ag has whipped up odds for Devonte Adams' next team in 2025, and the Niners are one of the favorites. If you can believe it, the Buffalo Bills are 3-1 favorites to land Devonte Adams to be his next team. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the second choice at 4-1. The Chargers are the third choice at 5-1. The Commanders are the fourth choice at 6-1, and the Niners are the fifth choice at 7-1, followed by the Pats and Broncos at 12, the Cowboys at 14, the Raiders at 18, the Chiefs at 20-1, Tennessee at 20-1, and the Rams also at 20-1. Everybody else is more than 20-1 odds to land Devonte Adams. But there you go. The Niners are the fifth choice, and the odds are 7-1 that they will land Devonte Adams this offseason. Of course, Adams is a West Coast guy who played collegiately at Fresno State and probably would love to be out on the West Coast. Now, Matt Barrows came up with his 7-round mock draft today in The Athletic, and it's pretty interesting. He starts off round 1 with Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State, who tore his ACL in October. Matt's thinking is, hey, man, Trent Williams is 37. Jalen Moore is a free agent. The 49ers could be badly in need of an offensive tackle, and he has them going offensive tackle with the 11th pick overall. Now, in the second round, pick number 43, he has them taking Nick Scourton, the defensive end from Texas A&M, who started at Purdue and transferred. Scourton is a 280-pound defensive end, so he's a bigger-bodied guy. Some people think he's got a future as a 5 technique and a 34 front, or maybe even a defensive tackle in the future because he's 280 pounds. But he played defensive end at Purdue and at Texas A&M, and Matt believes the Niners will take him with the 43rd pick overall in round 2. In round 3, he has the Niners selecting Gunnar Helm, a tight end out of Texas, who had 786 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns this year. The Niners have been trying and to no avail to fill this tight end spot. 2023, they took Cam Latu in the 3rd round. It didn't work out. Cam Latu dropped everything and eventually was cut after a couple of years. So the Niners are desperately looking for a tight end that they can put behind George Kittle and maybe even, kind of groomed to be the tight end of the future in San Francisco. And Matt says they're going Gunnar Helm, who's a pretty solid blocker and a decent receiver for the Texas Longhorns. In round 3 with the comp pick, Matty has them taking Dylan Sampson, a running back from Tennessee, who's represented by my friend Doug Hendrickson, is his agent. Sampson had amazing production this year. He had 22 rushing touchdowns in 2024. So very productive player. And he says the Niners are going to go another 3rd-round running back. A lot of Niner fans don't want to hear that after TDP and Trey Sermon and some of the 3rd-round whiffs on running backs. But according to Matt Barrows, they're going Dylan Sampson, running back out of Tennessee, in the 3rd round. In round 4, with pick number 112, Matty has him taking the Oregon weak side linebacker Jeffrey Bassa. And I thought Bassa was impressive in Mobile. Just the way he got the other guys fired up and his speed as an inside linebacker. He's a little undersized, but very, very fast. So I got to be honest, I don't love any of those top 5 picks. I don't hate them, but I just don't love them. I don't know if there's a home run in there. But now Matty goes with 3 guys in a row here that I really like. In round 4 with the comp pick, he has the Niners taking J.J. Pegues, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss, who started off as a first of all, he was a converted tight end. And he just kept getting bigger. Now he's 325 pounds. But he also played, running back and fullback in Ole Miss's short yardage game. He scored 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns he scored this year. I would love to see the Niners draft a guy like Pegues and use him at fullback and defensive tackle. He's at 2 steps. He's at full speed, quickness-wise, and he's 325 pounds. He's an underrated pass rusher at that rate. Or at that size, I should say. I love J.J. Pegues. And to me, in round 4, that's right where I think he's going to go. And if the Niners could get Pegues out of Ole Miss in the 4th round, that would be a great pick. Matty's got the Niners in the 6th round, pick number 189, taking C.J. West, another defensive tackle from Indiana. And this guy really lit it up in the East-West Shrine practices. He looked great. He had 6 pressures against Michigan in the Indiana's game against the Wolverines, which tells you he plays the best against the best. But he's 320 pounds. He's probably about 6 feet tall, but the movement ability is off the charts. And if you can get C.J. West in the 6th round, that's a steal. That's an absolute steal. Now, in round 7, pick number 232, Matty has the Niners taking another defensive tackle, Howard Cross. This is 3 defensive tackles in a row. Howard Cross III. And if you say, man, that name sounds familiar, his daddy played for the New York Giants as a tight end, I believe, Howard Cross. The younger son here is a defensive tackle at Notre Dame. He's 6'1", about 290 pounds. He's not a 2-gapper. He's a 1-gap penetrator, but he's a damn good 1-gap penetrator. And if he's there late in the 7th round, that would be a steal of a draft choice. The motor, the leverage, the pass rush interior moves that Cross has are really all pretty good, and he's a high-character football player. If he's there in the 7th round, that would be a steal. And then Matty finishes up the mock with 2 guys I don't really know much about. In the 7th round with the comp pick, he has him taking Thomas Perry, a center from tiny Middlebury, Division 2 or 3 school. And then also in round 7 with the comp pick, he has him finishing up with Tyler Neville. Tyler Neville is a tight end, H-back, jack of all trades. Started at Harvard, finished up at UVA. And I think Matty might be a UVA guy, so maybe he's watched a lot of Tyler Neville. So there you go. That's Matt Barrows' mock draft and in The Athletic, and it's a good one. I would encourage all of you guys to check that out firsthand for yourself. As far as the 49ers, people are saying, well, where are the Niners starting as they embark on this off season, and where do they stack up against the rest of the contenders now that we've seen the playoffs play out and the Super Bowl come to an end? And it's interesting. I looked at two different power rankings. ESPN's power rankings had the Niners 13th overall, and the Athletic Power Rankings had the 49ers 15th overall. And, it really is interesting. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, it's funny, in the ESPN Power Rankings, they have Philly at number 4. They dropped them before, even though they just won the Super Bowl, where the Athletic Power Rankings had the Eagles number 1. If you look at the Eagles, man, they are on top of the NFL right now. And it's the first new Super Bowl champion in 3 years. They crushed Kansas City on Sunday, 40-22 in Super Bowl 59. But man, Philadelphia is really good. Their roster is fantastic. They won 16 of their final 17 games to end the year. They led the NFL in point differential at plus 228, with the 7th highest margin seen in the last 25 years. They were the only team to finish in the top 6 in both offensive and defensive total expected points added. So they're a really complete football team. Philly had more points, 24, than Kansas City had yards, 23, in the first half of Super Bowl 59. So the big question for the Eagles is just, this offseason is, last offseason they lost both coordinators. This offseason, they lose their offensive coordinator, who just became the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. But the other question is, can they re-sign Zach Bond? They brought in Bond from the Saints, and he became an all-pro inside linebacker. Can he replicate that this year? I think that's really the Eagles' biggest question. As far as the other teams that stand between the Niners and, the Super Bowl, I mean, Kansas City. Kansas City's going to have 4 picks inside the top 3 rounds because of the L'Jarius Sneed signing in the offseason or trade that sent him to Tennessee. So Kansas City's going to have an ability to replenish their picks. Buffalo needs an edge rusher. They need a wide receiver. They need corners. But man, they need a little bit more on defense, but the Bills are still one of the premier teams. I think Detroit's going to be an interesting team to watch. They have a new offensive coordinator. They have a new defensive coordinator. They lost multiple coaches on both sides of the ball in the offseason. So there's been a lot of coaching turnover for the Lions. The Athletic ranks them 4th, and the ESPN Power Rankings have the Lions 3rd. Then there's Baltimore. The left side of their offensive line are, those guys are both free agents on the left side of the line. Stanley and Macari, and can they re-sign the left side of their line? I think that's a big question mark. The Washington Commanders have $80 million in cap room and supposedly need a corner or receiver. They need to improve their run defense, their run offense. But they're, with Jaden Daniels, they're going to be a force to deal with. The Rams, they haven't already announced they're going to trade Cooper Kupp. They're nearly 30. Basically that's going to, there's nearly a $30 million cap hit involved with trading Cooper Kupp. So they're going to have to move off of Cooper Kupp, or at least they say they want to move off of Cooper Kupp. There's also a lot of talk that that Matthew Stafford could be on the move. His brother-in-law was hired this week to be the quarterback coach of the New York Giants, and there's a lot of speculation that the Giants may wind up trading draft picks for Matthew Stafford because they're in a pressure-packed situation to win right away, and that the Rams may turn around and sign Aaron Rodgers as his backup, or his replacement, I should say, in L.A. So that is something definitely to watch for. Minnesota has got an interesting offseason ahead. Do they bring back Sam Darnold? They've got 25 free agents. Do they go with J.J. McCarthy? Is J.J. McCarthy going to be really, really good? Is he going to be as good as Darnold was? I think they're an interesting team to watch. Green Bay. Green Bay only has 2 free agents, so they're going to return largely intact. But Jordan Love is demanding a number 1 receiver. What does that do to their chemistry as a football team? I think that's going to be something to watch. Houston's an interesting team to watch. Their offensive line gave up 52 sacks last year, and they have a new offensive coordinator. They fired the ex-Niner offensive coach and Bobby Slowick, and they hired Nick Caley to be their new OC. Does he step in and make an impact? There's Tampa Bay that's got a new offensive coordinator in Josh Grizzard. Are the Bucs going to be, a team that's better than the 49ers? So we're going to find out. You got the Chargers. I think the Chargers are now saying, hey, Justin Herbert, what gives? He had 4 picks in the playoff loss. He doesn't have a single playoff win. They have O-line problems. They have wide receiver problems. They do have $63 million in cap room. So I would expect the Chargers to go after some offensive linemen, some receivers, maybe Deebo Samuel. But they got to help Herbert because Herbert has no playoff wins, and he looked awful. Then you got the Cincinnati Bengals. They've got Higgins and Chase and Hendrickson, who are all slated to be free agents. They got a new defensive coordinator. Lou Anarumo's out. Al Golden comes in from Notre Dame. They're going to be a fun team to watch. Denver is, going to try to, they've got needs at running back. They're looking for that joker position. That's what Sean Payton said. I'm looking for the joker, somebody that can be like a running back / tight end / Taysom Hill type, and just give Denver a little bit more juice offensively. So you got a bunch of teams there in front of the 49ers, that the Niners may be able to jump. They may not be able to jump these teams. We're going to find out. But, it's not only that, and the division looks pretty tough. I mean, CMC played 4 games last year for the Niners. Is he going to bounce back? Can the Niners get Purdy's deal done? Can they upgrade their O-line? Can they upgrade their D-line? Can they upgrade their linebacking core? The division's going to be interesting. Arizona has just 1 winning season since 2015. They're trying to keep some momentum going. A lot of talk that they may go after Milton Williams, the Eagles defensive tackle, who's a free agent. Seattle's got a brand new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak, and they're looking to run the ball a lot more under Clint Kubiak than they did under Ryan Grubb. And then the Rams, we already kind of mentioned the Rams, but I mean, the Rams, they're going to trade Cooper Kupp. Are they going to move Stafford? And if so, what does that do to the Rams? So the division, I think, is up for grabs. The top of the NFL is up for grabs, and the 49ers are in the mix, and that's about it. Are they the best team in pro football? No, they're not. Are they going to contend for a Super Bowl this year? I guess we're going to find out. But man, the competition inside the NFC is going to be fierce, and even the division is going to be a huge challenge for the 49ers. All right, that does it for our video. Thanks to Pig and Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show, and thanks to Mancini's for sponsoring this video, and thanks to Sharp Corners and sports cards and collectibles as well. And of course, thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.